10 years ago, if someone predicted the future and told me then that I would be making what I'm making now salary wise, but I would be struggling and barely making it paycheck to paycheck and paying for food for 7 people, I would say, you're crazy. I can't even imagine making that kind of money. 7 mouths? That's a lot. And I know everyone is struggling, and trust me.
If you are not struggling financially right now, then you need to consider yourself completely blessed. Like, don't even consider yourself. You are completely blessed. Like, every time I check my local mom group on Facebook, I see requests or people asking where they can get some financial assistance to pay.
No, but riddle me this. When did life become so goddamn expensive and it's also impossible to have fun?
Has anyone noticed that it's literally becoming impossible to live a normal life because of the inflation that's going on? Literally, our rent payment used to be $800, 2-bedroom, 2 full bath. $1,400.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about Colin Cowherd from Fox Sports. Now, I believe this is the only time that I've ever talked about Colin Cowherd on my show. However, I could be wrong, but one of the reasons why I've never mentioned this guy or talked about him is because usually he sticks to sports. However, we're seeing a trend of sports commentators who, for whatever reason, feel like sports is boring. Okay, maybe, again, they are getting tired of commenting on something that really doesn't impact anybody's real life. And now they're trying to discuss politics, okay? For whatever reason, they think that people want to hear their political opinions. And it seems like almost every time one of these sports commentators shifts over into the realm of politics, they give the absolute worst takes that remind you that not only is this guy probably not that politically informed, but he's also out of touch with regular everyday people. Like, for example, Stephen A. Smith. Okay, he has transitioned over to politics, and sometimes he gives good takes, but he's made it clear that he is a Trump deranged liberal who is going to vote for Biden. And lo and behold, we have another sports commentator turned political commentator, Colin Cowherd, who's basically saying the same thing, right? He's giving himself away as a Trump deranged liberal who is probably going to vote for Biden. And I want to react to this video that he posted where he's going to discuss Trump's hush money trial verdict, and he's going to remind us just how out of touch coastal elites are in this country, because this guy is the definition of a out of touch coastal elite who has absolutely zero clue what the average American is going through. So without further ado, let's get into it.
I've said this for a long time. I've always considered myself sort of a left-leaning independent. I'm kind of a conservative on fiscal issues, more of a probably liberal. I don't know. I don't think pro-gay marriage is liberal. I don't think pro-pot is liberal. I think those are moderate stances today. But I was supportive of those 25 years ago. So I kind of consider myself a moderate.
No, you're a Democrat, right? You are a solid liberal. Okay. Again, this is how you kind of know, like, where these people lie is, right? Is where they love to use I'm physically conservative, but socially liberal. Okay, so what do they actually really care about more, right? Do they actually care about fiscal conservatism more, or do they care about the social liberalism more? I guarantee you, a vast majority of the time, 90% of the time, these people care more about their social liberalism, right, than fiscal conservatism, which, again, is why this guy lives in L.A., okay? So, again, this dude who lives in Los Angeles, okay, he says he's a left-leaning independent. That basically means he's a Democrat voter, right? I guarantee you he's never voted for a Republican a day in his life, right? He is a tried and true Democrat voter. But again, it's people like this guy, Stephen A. Smiths of the world, Bill Maher's. Again, these types of voters are the reason why we're in this situation, okay? Because even though, I would hope that Colin Cowherd would be smart enough to know that the country was better off under Trump than Biden, they may know that, but they choose to vote Democrat anyways. Now, Colin Cowherd here is about to tell us that he actually might not be smart enough to understand that the country was in a better place under Trump than Biden, because he's going to suggest that, hey, his life isn't bad, okay? He's living in LA. Everything is good with him and his friends. Therefore, I don't know what everybody's complaining about. So let's listen to this.
If I am up in the air on something fiscally, I'd go conservative. Socially, I'd go left. But, I've said this about Trump before. He's trying to sell me an America that doesn't exist. Like, I'm 60. I don't remember anything before like 6 or 7 years old. But for the last 53 years of my life, outside of the pandemic year, I've loved America. I've lived everywhere. Tampa, Vegas. I've been kind of poor, middle class. Now I'm better off than most.
AKA rich. You're rich. Okay, you're getting paid millions and millions and millions of dollars. You're rich. Okay, let's be honest here. Okay, better off than most. No, you're better off than 99.99% of this country.
But he's trying to sell me this America stinks, and I just don't see it. I live in a nice neighborhood in LA. It's not a top 6 or 7 neighborhood in LA. It's not a Beverly Hills, a Malibu, a Brentwood, a Bel Air, Hancock Park. It's not like one of those swanky neighborhoods, but I don't see crime. I'm not stumbling over homeless people. I see happy people. Dodger Stadium's full. Leads Major League Baseball in attendance. Laker games are full. NFL games are full. They have money in their pocket. LAX is packed. I just saw a record airline revenue over the weekend. I'm constantly being sold in America by Donald Trump. Crime rates are skyrocketing. No, they're actually not. Starting in 2023, they have plummeted coast to coast, over 200 cities. Violent crime rates are down. I mean, Los Angeles and some cities may tick up in certain areas, but it's in America he's selling me. It would be like watching your football team and they play well and win, and your neighbor says they're playing terribly and keep losing. No, they're winning and they're not playing terribly. Like, you can't keep selling me on how bad the country I live in is, because it's not bad for me or my friends. I have a friend that's a stay-at-home dad. He's not rich. I have friends who work part-time, starting up businesses, who have worked at the same place forever. I have middle-class friends. They're not complaining about their life constantly, and I don't know what they are politically. I really don't. I don't talk about politics with my friends. I talk about my wife. I talk about sports. I talk about, we talk about guy stuff.
Which probably would include politics, right? So again, listen to this guy. He's literally saying, well, I don't like the America that Trump is selling me, okay? He believes that Trump is painting a worse picture of the current state of this country, specifically when it comes to the economy, that is what he's talking about, than what is happening. Despite the fact that we have experienced historic inflation. Okay, inflation hasn't been this high, since the 70s or the 80s? Interest rates haven't been this high since then as well. Combine that with the fact that, again, not only is the cost of living increasing, rents are increasing, but also home prices have increased almost faster than ever. In 2021, home prices increased 17 to 18% in 1 year, which is the fastest ever. In some markets, depending on where you live, like for example in LA, home prices have rose 20, 30, 40% over the past 3 or 4 years. So if you consider all these factors, the American dream is unattainable for a lot of people who are of average income. We're talking about average Americans who earn $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year, not $5 to $6 million a year like Colin Cowherd, which even in a place like LA, for as expensive as LA is, Colin Cowherd earning $5 to $6 million a year. I'm not sure if that's exactly what he earns, but I'm guessing that's in the ballpark. You're pretty damn well off, right? I'm not sure how you can be telling the average American that they're doing well when inflation really doesn't affect you all that negatively, right? In fact, somebody like Colin Cowherd, who I can imagine, pretty smart guy, probably invested in a lot of assets, he's probably benefiting from inflation. Food going up 20, 30, 40% doesn't affect him like that. It's a drop in the bucket compared to his overall income. But when you look at somebody making, again, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year, the price of food going up 20, 30, 40% over 2 to 3 years and wages not keeping up, yeah, that's a big deal. That's a huge deal, especially if you have a family to feed, But again, according to him, no. I don't see what Trump is talking about. I don't see what Trump is talking about. Because me and my rich friends do not experience the same thing that all these other people are talking about. So therefore, it must not be true, right? Again, this is out of touch, right? It really is. Again, this is how liberal coastal elites think. The ones that are rich, that, again, he doesn't understand the everyday person's average struggle. This guy lives in a nice part of LA. Imagine somebody in Los Angeles, a city that has experienced a huge uptick in crime. And we're talking about recently, this year, okay, January through March, compared to the same period last year, homicides up 23%. Overall violent crime up 13.4%, according to the LAPD. But this guy, Colin Cowherd, says, well, just because I don't experience the crime, that doesn't mean that crime is out of control. Right? That doesn't mean that, people, normal everyday people that actually have to live in neighborhoods and go to parts of cities that aren't safe. Nobody's experiencing an uptick in crime. Everybody's safe. I don't understand. What's the big deal? What are people complaining about? Same thing when it comes to homeless people. I don't see homeless people. Well, LA has a documented homelessness crisis. I mean, last year in 2023, it was up to 75,000 people living in LA were homeless. But again, what happens in cities like LA, the homeless, they aren't allowed to set up in the rich places like Hollywood and Bel Air and all these other places. Like, this guy's nice neighborhood, probably out in the suburbs somewhere, right? Probably not really even in LA like that, but still kind of in that vicinity. They don't allow homeless people to hang out there, right? They get them up out of there quick, fast, and a hurry. But they let them hang out in other places, though. And again, this is a documented crisis, but I don't see homeless people. Therefore, must not exist. Nothing's wrong. Nothing bad, right? Nothing bad is happening. Again, it's fascinating. It really is. It's almost as if this guy just watches MSNBC, because to me, this doesn't sound like a moderate. This sounds like a guy that just indulges in MSNBC and does not pay attention to what's actually going on. Or maybe he's just living in his bubble. Probably both, right? Probably both. But again, this type of elitism, this is how these people think, right? These people that, again, don't understand exactly what the average everyday person is going through. They just dismiss your concerns and tell you, oh, well, it's not real. I'm not experiencing it, so therefore it's not real. Amazing.
So I'm not somebody that is, if you don't have policies that I connect with, and you're always grouching and bitching about the other side, I'm not really interested in you.
Well, I mean, that's the whole Democrat Party, my guy. That the whole Democrat Party platform is Trump bad, right? Trump bad. Or we need to pass this policy or that policy because the country's systemically racist, right? Is Trump bad, or, we need to do something because of bigotry and hate. And most of the time, it's a terrible policy, which is why they have to sell it with bigotry and hate, right? Because the merits of the policy itself are probably bad.
Trump once tried to sell a vodka and acknowledges he never drank, ever. He's never really drank alcohol, but he tried to sell a vodka. So I've thought for a long time he's just kind of a con artist.
Well, that doesn't mean that you're a con artist, okay? I mean, look, at the end of the day, you can sell a lot of things, and you may not necessarily be the target demographic or the target customer for the product that you're selling, but that doesn't mean that you can't sell it. But if you go along with this guy's logic, then the whole pharmaceutical industry are full of con men, okay? Because they quite literally create products that I'm sure most of the people who create the product don't actually really use or consume, right? I mean, this is capitalism. Yeah, so we're going to fast forward through some of this to get to the part where this guy, again, is going to show us how out of touch that he is and the Trump derangement here.
When you're constantly trying to sell me on an America that I don't see, I'm not saying inflation's not an issue, but I get on airplanes all the time, and it's not a bunch of rich people. I don't fly private. I couldn't tell you the last time. I fly private maybe every couple of years. It'll be a family thing. We're trying to get everybody in the same flight, but not very often. I don't live in a fancy neighborhood. I get on planes. There's people in normal clothes. They don't look rich to me, and the planes are all full. And
again, just listen to this guy. Listen to this guy. There's people in normal clothes. They don't look rich to me. Oh, my God. Again, as if all rich people wear fancy clothes. Okay, I think actually a lot of rich people, the smart rich people, don't wear fancy clothes. They actually wear normal clothes because they don't want people to know that they're rich or that they're well off. But again, just listen to this guy. Listen to Out of Touch that says, well, there are people that fly on planes, guys. That means that the economy is great. The economy is great, guys, and they don't wear fancy clothes, so therefore they're not rich. I just don't see what you guys are complaining about. You need to suck it up. You need to suck it up.
Hotels are all full, and the freeways are all full. That means people are going to work. You're trying to sell me on this story and this narrative that's just not true.
It's not true, guys. It's not true. What you're going through is not true. Again, does this guy sound like he watches MSNBC? It's not true. Your struggle is not real, guys. I'm a multimillionaire. I know. Okay, I ride planes all the time. They're full. The people on the planes aren't wearing fancy clothes. There are cars on the streets, guys. You're driving. Therefore, you're not poor. You're not struggling. Okay?
Colin, you're out of touch. Out of touch to what? I have single people that live next to me.
Wow.
Young families that live next to me. People aren't grousing. They're not miserable all day. Now, they're not talking politics, but, Trump's entire game plan is the country is in a free fall. Maybe in the Trump-centric neighborhoods it is. It's not anywhere for my sister, who lives rurally, doesn't have a lot of crime in her neighborhood.
Well, that's because she lives in a rural area, right? If she lives in a rural area in a county that probably leans more conservative, more red, that means they probably don't have woke DAs and liberals running the place. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me, okay? I'm just saying. Colin says he lives in L.A., and crime doesn't affect him because he lives in the nice parts, right? It's not the ultra nice parts, but it's the nice parts, right? It's the nice parts.
I don't. My friends don't. We live all over Los Angeles. In one of those big, scary cities that voted for liberals. Ooh, scary.
You mean progressives. That's who you actually voted for, okay? Progressives.
I don't know. Everybody was saying hung jury. I didn't know. But when everybody in your team, everybody in your group, your cabal is a felon, maybe the world's not against you. I mean, it is New York City. It is New York City. I get it. They're going to appeal. Maybe it'll drive up his fundraising.
You notice how every single time these people, again, this is a common theme. They try to convince you, oh, no, it completely 100% fair. But then in the next sentence, they'll tell you, oh, well, New York City. Well, why are you saying New York City? Is it that you know that New York City is overwhelmingly blue? You know that there was definitely political motivations to this, which is why you're bringing up the location of the trial, right? Everybody knows that the location matters. Everybody's admitting that if it wasn't in New York City, that this outcome would not have happened. This case would not have been bought. Are you acknowledging that? But you're also at the same time trying to tell me that it was 100% fair? Again, I don't think these people listen to themselves. But hey, that's just me, right? I'm just saying this is a pattern that I noticed time and time and time again. They try to tell no. It's 100% fair. Okay, this guy definitely is guilty. Okay, the system's not weaponized. But thank God it happened in New York, right? It did happen in New York, which means something, okay? It means something.
But stop trying to sell me on everything's rigged. The country's falling into the sea. The economy's terrible. The economy's okay. It's not like on fire.
I'm just saying, if illegals showed up to this guy's neighborhood, right? If illegals showed up to this guy's neighborhood, I guarantee you he'd be coming up here talking about how we need to close the border, right? Again, see, they don't put illegals in neighborhoods like this guy's neighborhood. They kick the illegals out and they put them in the so-called black and brown communities. That's what they do. So, again, rich white liberals like this guy, okay, they can come up here and tell you how, no, you don't understand. The country's not falling apart. The border's not wide open. The economy is not terrible. What are you talking about? Stop selling me on something that's not true. I'm not experiencing it because I'm rich, right? I'm not experiencing it. This is a slap in the face, man. It really is. This is how these people think. This is how out of touch they are, guys. And these type of people line up and vote for Biden. These are Biden's voters. Biden's voters are the elites, guys. That's his voter base. This is the guy that buys into the Democrat propaganda. This is the guy that will listen to Corinne Jean-Pierre gaslight you on literally everything with the Biden administration, and he'll nod his head and say, yeah, that makes perfect sense. He'll eat up a plate of BS from a Pete Buttigieg or a Kamala Harris in a heartbeat, right? That's what he'll do. This is the exact type of guy that this is.
But get on a plane, find all the empty seats. I don't see them. Those aren't cheap. Either hotel rooms over Memorial Weekend. I like living in Portland. I like growing up on the coast of Washington. I like living in LA. I have a place in Chicago. I love it. I have really good friends and go regularly to Rhode Island. I love that. Maybe some of you are just unhappy.
Notice all of these places are not conservative places, right? All these places are uber liberal, coastal places where you get guys like him frequent, but he think he knows what middle America is going through, right? He's taking his very small experience and trying to extrapolate it to what the rest of the country's feeling. And he's going to try to tell you that, no, you're just unhappy if you don't feel the way I feel, right? You're the one that's out of touch, not this guy, right? He's not out of touch. You're out of touch.
Maybe you're only happy when you're unhappy. But the America that I live in is imperfect, but compared to the rest of the world, I think we're doing okay. And if you're not, is it possible? Just possible. I'm not even saying probable. Is it possible if your life has just been miserable for the last 4 years? It's not exclusively the fault of somebody in 1600 North Pennsylvania Avenue. Maybe it's not all their fault.
Yeah, this guy again. I just cannot believe how out of touch this guy is. But again, it's totally believable. This is the target demographic of the Democrat Party voter. When you listen to these people talk, okay, they try to tell you that they're not for the elite, okay, that they're for the working person, but they're not. They're actually for, again, the Colin Cowherd types, the types that aren't really affected that much by the bad policies of the Democrat Party, the types that feel good about paying more taxes, okay, to live in a liberal city like LA because it makes them feel good that they're fighting the homeless, right? Even though that tax money is actually not being used to fight the homeless. The people that actually really are the ones that suffer the negative consequences of the bad policies of Democrats. Not people like him, but the people that live in the not so nice areas, right? That don't make as much money. But again, he's telling you to know he's not out of touch. You're out of touch, right? He goes to Rhode Island, in Chicago, in Portland, Seattle. He's been everywhere, right? So he knows that you're not unhappy. You're not dissatisfied with the economy because the economy is actually bad. No. It's because you're just an unhappy person. You're just a MAGA person who's just perpetually angry, and it's not because your life is actually harder under Joe Biden. Again, I can't believe he posted this. I can't believe this guy posted this. But hey, listen to these people talk. They tell you everything about how they actually feel, that, again, they don't really understand your plight. They don't understand average everyday people. And, hey, this is just another example of how these people just are really, again, they're just in their own bubble, okay, to be quite honest with you. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.